How do you cook an omelet? Many people wonder, do you just take it and throw it in the pan? No, that won't work, although most of us cook that way. We just take something, we heat up a skillet with maybe some butter oil, toss it in the pan, and we hope to God it turns out. Well, you know what? If you use Julia Child's recipe to cook an omelet, it's going to turn out every time. It's going to be quick, fast, and delicious. Hello, and welcome to the next edition of Rex, the adequate would-be chef. There's one new thing on my set today, and that is the actual chef's jacket. So hopefully I, in time, can do it honor. Now, what are we talking about today? Today, we're going to talk about the simple omelet. Omelets, if you've watched Julia Child's episode, is actually something that they serve at luncheons and even at dinners. And she actually spoke about how they'd have dinner parties and they just come over and make omelets, and that was the main dish. She talks about how if you're having guests over and you need something quick, she would say, "Oh, the omelet is, oh," I better not do that. I wouldn't want to offend her at all. She'd basically say the omelet is something quick, easy, and delicious that you could feed a lot of people fast. Now we're going to need some history on omelets and basically how you make them. Now, first and foremost, as I say usually, is that I don't cook these recipes first. Unfortunately, omelets are quick, they're easy, and I've been hungry, so I've made omelets. And this is really something that you're going to want to practice. I'm going to make a few, probably throw them in a bowl and give them to my dog in the morning, just to sort of give you a better understanding of how to make these. And it's not the traditional omelet that you're used to. If you go down to your greasy spoon, they make the thick omelet with all the stuff in it. These aren't like that at all. But one thing that I did learn is a pan makes the biggest difference. Now, they actually make an aluminum omelet pan. It's this huge contraption. I don't have one. I thought I would substitute and use my, this is my Emerald cookware that I got from Costco. I thought I would use this. Now, we're going to put butter in this. We're going to bring it up to a nice high heat, and they cook within like 30 seconds. I mean, it's fast. What I found with this is you got a really nice thick bottom on this. The sides are really thin. So what would happen is I'd get my butter at a really good temperature. When you go to move, when you go to move the pan around, the butter burns on the side and just, it wasn't working at all. So I went to my old Costco non-stick skillet, and I found that this makes a much better omelet than the thinner side pans. Why? It's the same thickness all the way through. So when the butter hits a certain temperature, it's not going to roll up on a thinner side, and it's not going to burn, which is really important, because although you want the butter to subside in the dish, and then it's going to start to, right when it starts to change color and turn brown, that's the time when you're going to put your eggs in. Now, if you put your eggs in too soon, or after, if the butter is burned, it's no bueno. So especially if the butter burns, toss out the butter, get more butter. It's a lot cheaper than making a bad omelet. Now, she has multiple different ways that you can make omelets, and there's multiple different recipes. I'm going to do the one that I've watched her do, and I've sort of made a couple of times, and that's basically where you jerk the pan, and we're going to get into that on the stove, so I'm not going to go into it here. But there are different methods. If you have a cookbook, you can definitely look into that. There's also different ways of preparation and different ways to serve these. You can basically just serve it with a basic egg omelet, which is delicious, by the way, or you can do some stuffing, if you will, beforehand. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to chop up some bacon. I'm going to saute that, and I'm going to saute up some little peppers here that I picked up from Costco. These things are delicious. I'm going to chop those up, and I'll have all of that prepared ahead of time because, like I said, these do go so fast that you put it in within a few seconds, you're ready to put the topping in. Another way that she'll do it is actually she'll cook the omelet, and you slide that omelet out whole, and you actually want it a little bit undercooked. and you can put a layer of filling in. Again, this could be for like a dinner dish. And then you cook the next omelet. You lay that one whole right on top of that, perhaps a layer of cheese. Cook the next one, and you just layer this like a big cake, and it gets about this big, and you can set it aside for an hour, put it in the fridge, whatever you need to do. And then when you have guests over, you bring it out, you pop it in the oven. That's why you sort of undercook the eggs. Then the whole thing cooks into like this big cake, this egg stuffed cake. And you just cut it out and you serve it to your guests. So you wouldn't think that the omelet is that useful, but believe it or not, there's many different uses. So why don't we get down to the cutting board here. I'll do a quick prep work show, and we'll get over to the sink. Now I'm going to do your typical breakfast filling, although it is evening time, but it's quick, it's easy. I don't really want to make the big dinner. What I do have here is, like I said, some little peppers, some onion, a little bit of bacon that I had over from my boeuf bourguignon. I froze it, and we're going to chop some of that up. And I think that's about it. I have some shredded Parmesan cheese from the onion soup, and we're just going to throw that in. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. You know how to chop, and you should know how to saute at this point. So there's no reason to stay with it too long. Okay, let's get some of the preliminary things out of the way. Egg bowl. Now, I don't know about you, but back before I really started doing this, I would tap it very gently on the side, and I'd split the half so to minimize, I didn't want to get it on my hands and everything else, and I didn't want to get any eggshells in the dish. And I'd always get an eggshell in. You're taking your finger or your fork, you're trying to get them out. Then I watched an episode of Julia Child, and I realized you don't need to do that. And this is how you should do it. Follow after me. Take the bowl, take the egg, crack it, boom. Just stick your thumb up in there, whoop, there you go. One egg out, minimal damage. Now, I actually didn't get one piece of egg in there. Let's try this again. Gotta grab another egg, since I wasted the last one. Egg, bowl, pop, pop, bam, boom. Now, that's all you're gonna use for one omelet, 2 eggs. I do have egg stuff on my hands, I'm gonna rinse that off. If you do get an eggshell in the bottom of it, don't worry about it. Because when you scramble it, the eggshell is going to go down to the bottom, and when you dump it in the pan, the eggshell's 9 times out of 10 not going to go with it. I actually experimented and left some in there to see what happened, and sure enough, they just stick right to the bottom. So, who knew? Once you have your eggs in there, you're just going to take a fork. You can take a whisk if you'd like, and you want a little bit of water. So just pour just a smidge, would you, of water in there. And you're just going to mix this thing up. Sorry I'm doing everything up high, but I've already moved my camera and I don't want to go back. Actually, here, let's do this. There. Wait. Oh, there we go. So you can just mix it. She says maybe 30 times. Just enough to make sure that your egg whites and your yolks are nicely mixed together. That's good. And you can do this for each one. If you have a lot of eggs that you're mixing up, or you have a lot of people, go ahead and mix it up ahead of time. Just use a ladle. If you watch this at all, you know I don't have a ladle. Probably 5 people just wrote Christmas list, ladle, Rex. But no, right now I don't have a ladle. So I'm going to do them just a couple at a time. It's so quick you really don't need to worry about it. So once we have these mixed, which we do, we're going to use 1 tablespoon of butter in the pan. I'm going to tell you this right now because it's going to go quick. 1 tablespoon of butter in the pan. The butter is going to foam. Once it subsides, that's when the eggs are going to go in. Within 30 seconds, you're going to see that this thing comes out. Let's see it. Okay, I have to be careful with my pan and my camera setup, because you have to jerk the pan. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to get this in as you're going to put the egg mixture in, and as it cooks, and once it becomes like a little custard in this pan, we're just going to start shaking it. And you want it to get loose in the pan. Now, it's supposed to be creamy, and I watched her make hers, and they looked pretty raw. But she says it should be light and creamy, not overcooked. So I did eat them that way. They wasn't bad. I've never been one to like my eggs runny, but I do tend to leave these a little more on the runny side because you do understand that they are going to cook just a little bit more in the pan. So if you cook them really stiff before you put them in the pan, they're just going to overcook on the dish. So the trick is, once they're ready, you're going to turn it at about a 20-degree angle, and you're just going to pop the pan, and that's going to make the egg shift, and eventually we should be able to fold this over 3 times. Again, it takes some practice. I've cooked these probably 5 or 6 times just because I was hungry. Let's see how I do now. 1 tablespoon of butter. These first couple of eggs, I'm not going to be using my filling because I'm just going to be showing you what to do. So I'm going to go ahead and melt our butter. Now I have this at the highest heat possible, and really a gas stove, they say, works better for this method than a regular electric filament stove. If you do the filament, there's another way you can do this with a fork that tends to work better, but this method works really well on gas heat, which luckily is exactly what I have. Okay. Oh, look at that. There's the foaming butter. We're getting close. Now it's just about going to get ready to subside. We can go ahead, rub this because you want it all along the outer edge. The butter will subside and it'll almost start to turn brown, and that's when you know the butter is ready to go. I'm not seeing any brown yet. We'll just keep waiting. Once you cook your first one, the next one, it tends to go a little bit quicker. Yep, it's still nice and yellow. Like I said, those omelet pans are really thick. So almost the thicker skillet you have, the better. Sort of seeing a little bit of browning in the butter. See how it's sort of turning? I don't know if you can catch that on the camera, but that's it. The butter's ready. Mix it up a couple of times. Gonna pour it in now. I'm just gonna sort of move around my fork a little bit in the pan, get nice, set it really nice. See, it's bubbling up very nicely. Now Julia, she'd probably start popping it. I like to cook it actually just a little bit more, but for her, this is about where she's gonna pull it. I just keep moving the pan a little bit to make sure it's done, and keeps moving, which this is doing well. And I try to get some of the eggs around in the center. Now at this point, we're close. Note the pop. Oh, hold the pop. And that's about it. Notice I didn't do so well. Now, if you can see this, I'm going to sort of turn so you can see it. You're going to want to grasp the pan like this. Bring your plate over here, roll it over, and flop it right on that. Turn this heat off. Now, what Julia would tell you is that this is actually not a bad looking omelet. It's slightly browned right there. Your guests most likely aren't in the kitchen. Just take your fingers and, woo, it's hot. You can use a fork, but basically tuck it under. So it looks really nice. And then what you would do, I'm going to feed this one to my dog later, so we're not going to eat it. Oh, I'll take a bite, what the heck. Here's what she would do. Take some butter, coat the top with butter, grab a little bit of parsley, sprinkle it with parsley like so, probably a little more parsley than that. You guys been watching Biggest Loser? There's this one guy on there, he's got his bug eyes. Every scene, I love watching the guy because his eyes are going to come out of his face, but he's great to watch. Okay, so we have the omelet. Let's see if I can get a cut shot here because they're very light. See how it just comes right away? I haven't eaten dinner yet either, so I'm pretty hungry. So then, very creamy, very soft, nice buttery texture. It's delicious. You guys saw it took like 30 seconds to cook. You're hungry, you want to go somewhere, I had a friend over, we were sort of ready to go. I said, are you hungry? He's like, yeah. I was like, let's make some omelets really quick. 5 minutes later, we're both sitting down, toast omelets, and we're out the door. So let me throw this for the dog. We're going to make one more just like this to see if I can get a better flip on it, and then I'll show you how to make the other one. Okay, you'll probably notice here our butter's going to go a lot quicker because the pan's already warm. So have your eggs next to the stove if you're cooking multiple ones, so you can just pop them in, or your butter will burn. Trust me, I know. Before you can get them mixed up and ready to go. So like I said, if you're making a lot of them, it's always better. One thing she does do, which I didn't do on that one, probably put a little salt and pepper in it. Again, my dog's not going to care. Now you can take this, roll it around. Butter should turn a lot more brown a little bit quicker. See, can you see that? See if I can get it up closer. See how it's turning just almost the top of the foam is turning brown. You don't want to wait too much longer. Toss it in there, it's ready to go. Boom. Now if you were going to put like a fill in here, now would be a good time. So if you wanted to do one, you could like put anything that you pre-cooked, cheese or anything, you'd want to put in it right there. You want to keep moving this around and you want to get ready. If you're going to make the layered cake, also this is a good time because that'll cook in the oven. Pop. Pop. Oh, you got to be aggressive. You can't be afraid to really let it have it. That's a horrible one. But it is what it is. That's ugly. Look at that thing. But if it's really ugly and you want a better presentation, grab a fork. Try to clean it up just a little bit. Butter it, put some parsley on it, whammo. Quick omelet. The dog's gonna be eating good tomorrow. Maybe I'll film him eating his omelet so you can get the taste test. Film le peach. Okay, back down to the stove. Okay, throw in our pat of butter. Already started on the eggs, a little bit of water. I am going to eat this one, so we want to make sure to salt and pepper them. Look at that. Now see how quick that butter turned? It already turned brown. It's going to subside, which it's done. It's ready to go. Get it good and around in the pan. Now this one's different in that I don't want to pop it. I'm going to show you how you would make that layered cake effect. I do like popping it though, it's quite fun. I could try the full flip. As Julia says though, you have to be aggressive. If you're not aggressive, it won't be any good. This is almost done. Oh, it wants to flip on me, did you see that? So, notice the runniness on the top. It is a little bit runny. Julia would say that. Oh, it's beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill my heat so I can show you. I'm just gonna put the plate down. If this is like a plate, or you could use like a cookie sheet if you're gonna bake it later, just take it, literally put it right on the plate like that. Flip, you wanna try to keep it whole. Obviously I'm a little off-centered, which I'm just gonna leave it there for now. At this point, you can tell that, see how the egg's cooking right there? It's gonna cook right on the plate. Take your Parmesan cheese, what I have, put that on there. At this point, take your filling that we cooked already. Move that like that. I don't know which fork is which anymore. Move this off heat. Let's get to the next one. I'm not even going to cut camera. It goes so quick. Egg. Egg. Water. Salt. Pepper. 1 tablespoon butter. See how quick that goes. Hear that butter just subside? Isn't that weird? Butter subside, slightly browning. Bam. We're done with the egg thing. I'm bring a plate over here. I was flipping through the recipe book and I noticed the fondue section. I was like, yeah, whew, that'll be a fun one. Now I sort of want this browned on both sides for the effect. Do you think I could flip this thing? I can already hear Julia. Oh, you totally must just be aggressive with it. Let's try it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at that. Woo! There's a little bit of egg on the stove, but not bad. Oh, hit me right on the foot. But really not bad at all. Got some on the handle. I just wanted that nice golden top right up there. We'll go ahead and kill that. Then go ahead and just layer it. Now, she would put layer after layer until it's like this high. Obviously undercook it a little bit more than what I did. Coat the whole thing liberally with butter. Take your parsley, put that on the top. There you have it. You're like, have what? You're way off camera. There you have it. Hush. You can see there's all my layered stuff in there. Okay, it's 7:40. I think I read that last one. It's 7:11, and I told you I'd look at what time it was. I didn't. So I've technically made 4 omelets, all the stuffing to go inside of it and everything. It's quick, trust me. So we saw the finished plating. I could probably see if I can get a little bit better there. Okay, you want to eat these when they're hot, they're fresh. You don't want to let them sit around unless you're heating them up for a later time. Bon appetit. Camera's a little high. Oh, that's good. Should probably try that one more time. Julia would probably want a big glass of wine with it. She drank wine with everything. I'm thinking a nice cold glass of milk. I'm gonna eat this, get it in the can, get it edited for you guys. Not sure what I'm cooking next, but I'm sure I'll like it, and hopefully you will too. Thanks for watching. Please come back. Hey, also if you notice on the upper right hand corner of my website, you can subscribe to this, and every time I make an update, it'll send you a message letting you know the next video is available. Please subscribe. See you soon. Bye. Bullseye. You want to try some of Daddy's omelet? Plate looking good, huh? Plate looking good? Hey, how was it? That means it was good. Good night.